After an emphatic win at the Dragão, it was right back down to earth at Stadio Luz against the Roca, and that one advantage that we had over Sporting was just vanished in smoke. Another passive game by Benfica. That and a lot more. We got to catch you up. It's been a bit. Another night, another podcast.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero um manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer instante e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumacic. Here we are. Sorry we missed last week. It's completely my fault, not Chris's and Dave's. They were ready to go to travel for work, so I couldn't be here, obviously. And Dave was just saying, what a night would have been to have been here. Right? Coming off that spectacular win at the Dragão that doesn't happen too often. I don't think we've seen many of those in our lifetime, especially me and Chris are a little older than you, Dave. But it would have been nice.
If we didn't see it, Dave didn't see it.
Definitely not.
That's for sure.
But here we are. And you've already heard the man, the myth, the legend, Cristiano Oliveira. What's happening?
Yo, smash the like button, guys. Listen, Alfredo, I liked your little opening monologue when talk about up in smoke, and I was thinking, you know what else went up in smoke?
What?
Last week's podcast. So we apologize.
Thanks,
Welcome, Freddy's, mis amigos. I got a headache. My ears are ringing, but I'm here for you guys because I love you guys. Miss you guys. I was tempted, ladies and gentlemen, just so you guys know, I was very much tempted to host a pod last week, which would have been either the greatest podcast in the history of Benfica podcast or quite possibly, most likely, the very last one in the history of Benfica podcast. So
it would have been spectacular.
Be thankful if you're a listener to Benfica podcast. You enjoy it. Be thankful I didn't host.
Yeah. Also with us, as always, the man that fears no tariffs, Dave de Oliveira. What's happening, Dave?
I don't know about that one, but good to be on this week. Yeah, would have made what a difference a week would have been. We would have been here with our chests out high and feeling good about ourselves, but almost a 180, and we got a therapy session on our hands where we thought we could see the finish line and start making our plans for the Marquês Pombal, and Benfica didn't show up on Saturday, but
no,
yeah,
not at all.
We'll get through it here together, but
yeah.
We've got lots to recap.
Dave, let me ask you a question. As a Canadian, what is one of the things, or a couple of things that you consume from the U.S. or that you order from the U.S.?
Bacon.
Right now, more than anything, fucking lettuce.
Lettuce, really?
Shit up here in the wintertime, no. I've tried everything to find some locally lettuce here, and there's no lettuce, which makes sense because it's still like an ice cold.
Dave, you gotta plant that shit in your quintal, bro.
How am I supposed to plant it when there's a foot of snow that comes in the winter?
You gotta get them stufas, bro. You gotta get
a greenhouse, bro.
Lettuce right off the top of my head. I know that's something that I'm constantly checking for to see when is that locally grown stuff coming up.
It must be rough on the grillos, bro. No lettuce for the grillos.
No lettuce, yeah. But everything else so far, I've noticed can get it close to home.
Yeah. And we're just making time here, or allowing the Freddies to come in, obviously. But yeah, so here we are.
I don't know. You start talking about tariffs, they might want to run politics. I don't want to talk politics.
You're right about that, Chris.
They might come in and leave, bro. Like, let's
keep.
If you can empatou, you gotta falar em tarifas.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Let me. I think Cristiano already said hi to the Freddies, but Logan Muniz, Manuel da Cunha, Bola Cadernos, Jason Caidola, the usual.
Read their comments, bro. Read their comments. Abola Cadernos did his homework. I think he's been looking up the Benfica Almanac. and he's giving us facts.
Last time Benfica drew with Aroca, we got a BSPK that Lima converted late, so karma is real, I guess. That's a bola cadernos.
Yeah, but he's got another one. Read the next one. Read the next.
Also, that season we went on a win to win the league, also having beaten Portland away, and we drew the next game at home in 2019. So there's hoping for some deja vu. Yeah,
there it is.
We tied.
That's a positive spin on it there with the second one.
Besad. Yeah, so he plunges us into the abyss, but then he brings us right back. I like that. Ebola Cadernos. That's how you do it, man. You bring us out on a high note. That's how you do it. Yeah. So welcome, Freddy's. I know that that we weren't here, so and again I apologize, but we got a little bit to cover. We got the Porto game that I wanted to talk about. We also have Tirsense, and we have the freshest game in our minds against Roca, which happened this weekend, and we also have Vitoria coming up, a game at the Alfonso Henriques this weekend. That's going to be another crucial game that Benfica will need to win. But it seems like the hard games we managed to win.
You got to be careful when you say Vitoria, bro, because the people in my dad's hometown of Stubble, they call themselves Vitoria as well. So you got to explain.
Yeah, but it's Vitoria to Stubble.
Vitoria Guimarães.
Vitoria Stubble is in like 5th division,
fourth division. Hey, they're the same division as the super powerful Tirsense, bro. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, Vitoria Stubble is down there, man. It's down there. Yeah, as you guys know, they were demoted because of finances and all that stuff. So
I'll give you a little secret, man. Me and a investment group tried to buy Vitoria Stubble a few years ago, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
So
didn't happen.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So, but maybe in the future we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'd be doing the Vitoria Stubble podcast right now.
You'd be doing the Vitoria Stubble podcast.
You too, bro. Do my co-host. What I do, you do. Stop. For this campus to get away.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Porto game, right? And I don't think I don't want to bore anybody. I don't want to bore.
Did we talk about the Tirsense game? Did we?
No,
we did a podcast that night, right?
We didn't. We were supposed to, but we didn't do it.
Wait,
we didn't. We haven't had one since the.
We were supposed to do it after the Tirsense game on Wednesday night.
We did do. We did do it.
No,
unless you joined another podcast that we weren't.
No, so wait a minute. We haven't been back in 3 weeks.
No,
man. You guys are crew.
No, 1 week. Because I called you on Monday. I said, Cristiano, do you want to squeeze in the podcast on Monday? Because I'm traveling later on this week.
But that was after the Porto game. Benfica
yeah, that was actually
played.
We only missed
and
the
we didn't record.
Didn't Benfica play Tirsense before the Porto game?
No, after.
No, Wednesday.
We played Wednesday. Last Wednesday.
Okay,
a week ago tomorrow.
All right. I'm sorry. Sorry, Freddie. I apologize.
Yeah, no. See, Benfica, Cristiano beef with the Islands. Alfredo wants to beef with Stubble. I love Stubble.
Nah.
As a matter
Alfredo,
of fact, I live in the street Stubble.
You guys have never been with Alfredo to Stubble. My man be chowing down that choco frito. So trust me, he don't want no beef with them.
I
don't want no beef with the Islands. I love the Islands. I love them. I have them tattooed on my bicep.
I love Stubble. I love Troia. Troia is probably one of my all-time favorite beaches.
That's right. And
just the whole ambience of Stubble. And I have had the opportunity to hang out in Stubble because he has some roots in Stubble and some family. But yeah, the choco frito is always great, and choco com tinta
and
too.
Our house, Alfredo, our houses are in street Stubble.
That's right.
The Stubble. We love Stubble. Everybody loves Stubble. If you don't like Stubble, you não gostas nada.
Yep. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Porto game, right? Because I think we missed the opportunity to bask in our happiness about the sport to win, and certainly I think see if I could remember heading into the game. So the last podcast that we did was before the Porto game. I think you were very confident that we were going to win that game.
I think I believe I said 3 or 4-1 in the podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I think I settled on 3-1.
Yeah.
You guys were definitely much more confident than I was because I was
You're
the
going for
Debbie
a tie,
Downer on
right?
the.
Right, Dave? You're going for a tie?
I tie or a loss. I was not confident. Just again PTSD of recent memory going up there and them slapping us around. So
Yeah, and look, what can we say about the game? I think that it's one of those games where Lage prepares extremely well, and it's one of those games that you come up against a team that's inferior to you, that you should be beaten, regardless of what the history is in that stadium, right? And we've heard of some shenanigans. The lights were low in the locker room. Some the usual shenanigans up
I
there.
mean, what else is new, Alfred? I mean, I think every year that we go into that stadium, we expect something. You know what I mean? It's something. So when shit like that happens, I mean, I wasn't surprised. And I think Benfica, to their credit, they even take like fog lights or whatever with them in the
Yeah.
bus because they already expect certain things. So credit to them. They were
They're
prepared. They had
prepared
plenty of
for
light.
everything. You're
Yeah,
right.
they're prepared for tudo e mais alguma coisa.
Yeah, but
Menos o como é que chama? O Arauco aos 96 minutos. But everything else, they're prepared.
that will never get old tonight. But yeah, it's one of those games that we always go in there, and regardless how the team is doing, and you have confidence, but strange things happen up there, and I think sometimes it's that fear that we have. Something happens as we step onto the pitch, but this year worked out on both legs, on both the at Stadio Luz and at the Dragão, matching results at both games, and I think that Benfica being the team that's a much better team than Porto, and Porto's had the struggles this year. Obviously, I think that it was easy. Of course, it helped that to score that early on because you kind of take the crowd off the game and you're able to be a little bit more confident with that lead. But after that goal, we saw Porto trying to react, but nothing really that dangerous for us. And I think at the end of the half, we would score that second goal and again, just really asserting our dominance and putting away the chances, which is something that we couldn't do against the Roca. He goes, is that a Roca reference again? But yeah, I think overall a dominant game by Benfica. You don't see a lot of that. I think the last dominant Benfica win that I remember was Cesar Brito. I don't know if you remember that, Cristiano. It was a while
I don't know if
ago.
that was dominant, bro. That was a 2-0 victory, Alfredo.
It was 2-0? I thought it was a hat trick, or no? Or Cesar Brito was
no,
two
it was
goals.
2-0 at the Hunters in like
at the-
91. I think
yeah.
that was 91. I was a little kid or a little whatever, young,
Yeah, and
early teenager. Or if even a teenager, but whatever. No, I wasn't even a teenager. Whatever. Yeah, Cesar Brito went over. I think it was 2-0. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll Google it real quick while you
Google that.
talk with
but yeah,
the Freddies.
and I guess you and I, Dave, we could talk a little bit, but it's definitely watching this game, and I didn't watch it live. I was actually following it on my phone, but it was just like wow, I couldn't believe it. Early goal, then you score the goal going into the half, which is always a time that you want to score. But Dave, I don't know if you still remember the game, but certainly we're feeling confident, right?
it's one of those games that you're never gonna want to forget because, like you had mentioned, it the first time that it's happened in our lifetimes here. So yeah, definitely that quick goal changes the game completely. It kind of lets us kind of sit back and let Porto come and attack to us, which they weren't clinical at all with their finishing, right? They controlled possession for the match and didn't really make the most of their chances. There were some opportunities there, and there were some blunders by some of our defense there. I'm trying to remember. I think Antonio Silva coughed up a ball right after almost.
The few dangerous chances that they had were all mistakes by us.
Yes, 100%. Antonio Silva and Florentino, but they just Porto lacked their finishing boots on this day, and guess what? I'm not going to complain one bit about it, right? So going 2-0 into the half, at a place that's historically been a haunted house for us here. I'll take that any day of the week here. So yeah, much positives going into the halftime here.
Yeah. Apollo Cadenza, Cesar Brito was in 1991, Nun Gomes in 2005, Lima in 2004,
Yeah,
and
they're the only three players that scored 2 goals at the Dragão.
Yeah.
Well, now
was
this
it
guy with
did
three, but yeah, it was
João Felix
1991.
also score 2 goals? No.
No, one
No,
goal, one goal.
Rafa scored the other
one.
one.
Alfredo.
Yeah, yeah,
Rafa scored the other one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember Cesar Brito as a little kid, man. I never forget.
yeah.
I never forget. And I believe Royal was the other way, was already at Porto that year. So that's why I remember that as a little kid, man.
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. So
Yeah, but look, I think that anytime that you beat Porto and their home is always something to rejoice and to remember, but certainly 4-1 and like Jason Gaidol is saying, it could have been 7 or 8. I mean, we wasted quite.
yeah, that's the
quite a
crazy
few
thing.
goals.
We dominated this game from start to finish. It could have gotten really out of hand, and it was one of these games where we go into the Dragon, we beat them 4-1, Alfredo,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Handedly, right? And we left feeling somewhat
It could have been
dejected.
more. Yeah.
I felt dejected, like if I estimate the same we'd be out. And if you guys recall, just last season when we went there, they scored 5 on us, and they were trying to score more. And that's the difference. Like they'll put the foot to the metal, and we were just chilling. You know what I mean? But it was one of those games that I think it could have been one. Even at 4-1, if we look back at it, it's still a terrific result. It's a result, as you said very early on in this podcast, Alfredo, that I don't think we've seen in our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And so it's got to be appreciated, but at the same time, we feel like it could have been, bag full of goals and one of these games that we be remembered for many years. But in retrospect, I really do think that we'll be remembering the 4-1 for many years as well, unless we start doing it on a consistent basis. Due to where Porto's heading, we'll see what happens. But if Porto's a strong Porto once again next year and the years following, we'll be talking about this game. But I felt like we could have done better.
Yeah.
Chris, you'll always remember your first 4-1 there, so don't worry about it. We're gonna remember this for a long time.
Yeah, I would have rather 7-1 though, Dave. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure,
man.
1000%.
That's one of those the bragging rights for a whole lifetime, just like they brag about 5-0.
Yeah, you could have put that to rest with a lopsided, which again, let's reiterate, this is soccer, ladies and gentlemen. So 4-1, it is lopsided, but it could have been really lopsided.
Yeah,
and it would have put those 5-0 to bed. It would have been like skest. Don't mention that no more because I got 7 here. You know what I mean? And so, but whatever. Look, at the end of the day, we won the game. Fantastic result by the boys. All we've asked for in the years past, Alfredo and Dave, you might have been listening at the time before you joined us. I remember Steve and all the other guys used to be involved, and we'd go into these games against Porto at the Dragão or Estádio das Antas. No, the Antas was before, at the Dragão, and all we'd ask for is for Benfica to play with attitude. You remember that, Alfredo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go there and play and match these guys eye to eye. And now here I am complaining about fucking 4-1. I mean, I know I sound crazy, but yeah, long are those days, man.
Yeah, it's one of those. I remember that one. I forget who was under, but Benfica played with attitude. I think like Pizzi was like tackling people like crazy, tackling people.
I think it was.
You remember that?
I think it was. I think it was. What's his name? It was the 1-1 draw under Schmidt, where we're Arsenal had like the game of his life. He had yellow card. We had like 4 yellow cards in the first half. Schmidt subbed everybody off except Arsenal. I don't think Pizzi was on the team.
No, that was before that.
Then the Pizzi stuff was Jorge Jesus. Then the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was either Jorge Jesus or Verissimo or Lage is on the descent of Lage. The first.
No, it was Jesus. It was Jesus.
I remember us coming on here and like being all we finally gave it to them like they give to us, like with the attitude. And
oh yeah,
and it was
that's
1-1.
Right. Portistas mocked us for acting like we got a victory and a tie. Like they were
Yeah,
celebrating a victory.
because
In reality, it was a tie.
there was
Yes.
that attitude that we always ask for. But I mean, in this game, it was just outclassed and outplayed, outcoached. I mean, you out whatever you just add the word on there. But yeah, memorable win by Benfica. Certainly a very high win, and I think that there's a lot to be said about the fan base that Benfica has in Porto, right? And there's quite a lot of them. And think about during their lifetime how much abuse they have put up with because they're Benfiquistas that live in Porto, right? So in school, always the majority of the kids that they go to school with are Portistas, obviously, and you get bullied and you get abused. And I think there was a little bit of retribution this time around for Benfica, where you could go out and wear your colors and smile and laugh and point the finger, whatever. But yeah, it's always a momentous occasion whenever you beat Porto, and you're able to come out and it was clean. It was clean. There was no refereeing controversy, nothing. It was clean, but as we mentioned, if anything, it was short, and we all felt that it could have been a lot more, and unfortunately that it couldn't. But again, Pavlidis ascends to a certain level that no other player has done. Right? I think he's the first time to
He's
to
the first. He's the first
score
to
a hat trick
the hat trick
at the
over there.
Dragão, or against
Or
Porto.
not Dragão, at Porto.
At Porto.
Even I guess the one game that we beat them 12-1 must have been in Lisbon, because I'd be hard pressed to find 12 goals and nobody scored a hat trick. That's crazy. So I think that game had to be
12 nothing.
Yeah.
But it was what when
12-1.
They used to play with leather balls.
Epa, não sei.
It was a while ago that 12
No
nothing.
conto.
19
No conto.
the 30s or 40s, something like that. Yeah. But anyway, what else can we say about this Porto game? Not much, right? We're happy. I think it's coming a week and a half later. I think there's a little bit of the wind that has been taken off our sails, and certainly the weekend game has taken a lot of that momentum and that happiness that you had with the Porto game, especially with Sporting Tie and Braga.
But here's a question.
Go ahead.
I've made these questions over the last podcast, because now we're doing a podcast every other month. But I believe I did it recently. And Dave, if you recall, I asked about, it was Champions League related. Whatever, I don't want to go back to it. But I'll ask a question. Had we tied at Porto and beat Aroca, we'd all be okay with it, right?
Absolutely.
It's kind of like, so we got
Chris, you got a
4
point,
points.
bro.
You made the exact same point my dad made to me after we dropped points against Aroca, but I was still heated after that, so I was not
listen, I'm not happy.
to-
I'm not happy at all. I'm asking you guys I feel, because again, I knew, I was predicting Benfica was going to go to Porto and was going to make a meal out of them. I told you guys here on the podcast. So I'm disappointed by this, by these 4 points in these 2 games. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, for a guy like you, Dave, that was expecting things to be much, much tighter at the Dragão, right? I'm asking you, I guess, and Dave and the Freddies, Dave and Alfredo and the Freddies, if it was the opposite, if it was the other way around, would you guys be okay with it? Would you be looking at it totally different than we are right now as a disappointment?
It's still a disappointment in my books, just because of the high. I know where you're coming from, but I still can't get over the highs of the high of laying that smackdown on Porto, and then dropping points is criminal to a Manku at home. That it's criminal. So I know what you're saying, Chris, and at the end of the day, if you look at it as a math equation, they're supposed to equal out. But I just can't get over the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, I think that looking at the context, right, and understanding this is one of the weakest Porto teams, I think that there was a lot of people that thought that we were going to win, regardless of what the history is there. So I think in that I understand what you're saying, Cristiano. People would have been okay with a tie at Porto, especially if we shit the bed against that team.
No, I'm not saying people. I'm asking you. I'm not.
I'm
I'm not
asking,
saying it's
no,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that if you tie there and we shit the bed like we always do when we go up there, and then we win this game against the Roca and things are tied up with Sporting, um, certainly it's okay, right? It's okay because that's what we expected as Benfiquista and
Let
fans
me
of the
let
team
me
when they
add
go up
something.
there. Yeah,
Let me add something else to it. Let me add another wrinkle to it. I think, and again, we here on this podcast, it's about Benfica and we talk about Benfica, but there's times where it's okay to talk about others. And I think where most people's disappointment comes from is the fact that Sporting just got a gift the day before. Um, and I think some people are very disappointed, and they let that disappointment trickle into this.
yeah,
When I'm talking about result, meaning the 4 points out of those two games, I think that having happened stirred the pot. It's it's complete bullshit, to be brutally honest, in Portuguese football. How these referees get away with referees and VARs and whatever, blatant, clear penalties, and nobody makes a big stink about it. When it's Benfica, when it's a 50-50 call, it's not even like 100% either way, one way or the other. It's a 50-50 call, and then everybody and their mother covers the newspapers. It's just these two teams are judged very differently, and it's annoying. And being frustrated with that, and then going to a game that you absolutely must have at home in front of 60,000, dropping these crucial 2 points and the 96th minute, it's very disappointment. Very disappointing,
yeah,
I should say.
yeah, extremely. But since you're touching on that, let's make that segue. I don't know if Dave has some stats about this Porto game that we could throw out, but let's make that segue to the Aroca game.
Yeah, just you guys have already touched base on it. Of Lidi's first hat trick, first player on Benfica to score a hat trick at Porto's home ground. First time in history that Benfica, or first time in 79 years that Benfica have, I think it was like a four, or sorry, Benfica equaled their biggest away win to Porto since 1974-75, which was a 3-0 victory there. So with the 4-1 victory there, it's just all positives here. But we'll transition here to the Oroca game next year.
Yeah. And yeah, I do want to transition to the Aroca game, but just we have that Tirsense game, and obviously Tirsense playing against the first leg of the semifinal for the Portuguese Cup, playing against a team that's in Portugal's fourth division. It was always going to be easy. Saw a lot of rotation.
Wait, you sure it was fourth division?
Yeah, fourth level.
Because the way I saw some people talking on Twitter, I thought it was like defending Champions League champions. You know what I mean? Defending Champions League champs. Because the way some fans were talking about some of the performances from our boys against a fourth division team who needed to get a pink slip to go off of work to play that game. I mean, you could have sworn it was the 2008 Barcelona squad. It's absolutely pathetic on some people's part. But go ahead, Alfred. I just wanted to throw that out there.
None of those guys play football for a living. Let's just say that. I think
I believe they like to.
All of them may have real jobs, or I think all of them have real jobs, and there's always some anecdotes around that, and a guy, gajo é padeiro, outro trabalha no café, outro trabalha na serração.
Eu ia dizer uma coisa, mas não quero ofender a malta portuguesa. I've done enough offending people, so I'll keep my comments off the air. I'll tell you after the year.
Gajo é pastor, o outro gajo ordenha vacas, não sei. But yeah, certainly, fourth division. And again, I mean, look, you see guys shine, right? But if you're playing at Benfica at this level, right, regardless of your age, and you don't shine against these teams, come on, Ed, there's a huge gap between the level of a first division team and a fourth division team, right? So yeah, look, it's good to see Sheldrup. It's good to see Prestiani, but let's not forget what the context is, right? And if these guys can't perform against these ultra mancos, then I don't know what. You might as well pack it in and go home. But certainly it's normal for these kids to perform. Certainly. 4-0 was it? Yeah, 5-0 win against Tirsense. So we played the next leg a week from tomorrow after the Vitoria game, and that game will be back at Stadio Luz, and certainly on the other side of the bracket, Sporting beat Rio, so they're also in a good position to meet us at the Jamor, and it's been a while since we've been at the Jamor, so definitely looks like we're with a couple feet already, or a foot and a half at the Jamor. I don't anticipate being a major catastrophe at Stadio Luz, regardless of if we rotate and we play with 9 out of 11 players that I haven't played for this team, or not regular starters, I should say. Let's turn our attention now to the Aroca game. I don't know if you guys had anything to say. I know all the Prestiani fan base and the Sheldrup fan base are clamoring for them to play, but look, let's look at the context. That's all I'm really saying.
I mean, look, if you want me to say something, I mean,
go ahead, Chris.
Sheldrup did play. Unfortunately for us, in the 96th minute, he was ball watching. He was playing. So much criticism throughout the years, especially over the last couple of years, by a huge part of the fan base that Di Maria can't defend, and then this guy absolutely lollygags this crucial play late in the game in the 96th minute after coming in himself in the 77th minute. So can't tell me you're tired. And he's just jogging as that guy, what's his name, Jason, is just sprinting down the middle. And so I just found it very interesting that you've heard them crickets that Dave has to deal with over there in Canada. They've been quiet. They've been very quiet recently in terms of
that's for the game that we're about to talk about.
I thought he was talking about the Tirsense game still.
No, Tirsense. I mean, the news to me, guys. And look, I'm glad, I'm happy every time Benfica players do well, regardless of who it's against, right? But the news to me in that game would have been if any player Benfica didn't play well against a fourth division team. That would have been breaking news.
Yeah.
But not to go goo goo gaga over players, in other words, abusing fourth division players. It's a little bit much for me. You know what I mean? I think you need to make some sense of things and look at the context and whatever. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I just like I'm entitled to mine, and I'm giving mine.
Chris,
but
Manny Villadão is saying that you're treating Twitter fans like a Surianj. What's that all about?
Epa, we need to stop. We need to stop this Suriano stuff shit, because I'm gonna get jumped one of these days. I don't know, bro. Like, I love my Suriano. I don't understand what the hell they say half the time, but I love them. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not being rude, bro. I think listen, I got Assyrian friends that they know that it's rough for us to understand them. I mean, I'm not being rude. I'm not saying anything many other people haven't said before. So stop instigating.
But Chris, what Manny Villadão is saying that you're treating Twitter fans like Assyrians. What's that all about? You've been
because of what I was talking about, Twitter fans going crazy about Sheldrup and Cristiano. That's what he's referencing.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Stop trying to get me in trouble, bro.
No. I'm just because I'm not on Twitter a lot these days. As a matter of fact,
he's making that the comments that I just made to you and Dave a couple minutes ago regarding those players playing well and how Twitter was going crazy. That's what he's referencing.
Yeah.
Right, Manny. I'm pretty sure he'll answer. I know that's what it had to be. Because on Twitter, I don't really. The only thing I said on Twitter, I said one comment on Twitter. I didn't say much else about that.
Manny Villadão is saying that he's in a Suriano with a sense of humor. And Chris,
I love you guys. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait to be able to go to Sodas and watch a game one day.
Yeah,
I might have to take a wig and like the glasses with the nose, but I'll definitely do it. I'm definitely down, bro.
Chris, Bola Caderns wants you to tell us more about this Diego Castro Branco that we're getting from Dortmund. You know.
I don't know, but I can tell you this much: my man's been promised a first team spot next year. So
really,
yeah, that's why he signed. Apparently, he's been promised a first team spot. we'll see what happens. I don't know much about the player. But it seems like an interesting prospect, a guy that has Portuguese background, a guy that feels that by coming to Benfica and joining Benfica will facilitate his way into the Portuguese national team system. So
Yeah.
that's all I know about him. I don't know much else.
Okay. All right. All right, so getting into the Saroka game, Trubin was in goal, Araújo Silva, Otamendi and Carreras, Ausnestino and Kokshu, Di Maria and Artur Koglu and Pavlidis. We're back to the lineup that brought us some success early on. Artur Koglu certainly the way he was and getting some rest, with Sheldrup getting a little bit of the starting job for a bit. It seems that we got Artur Koglu in a different point now, and it's he's been helping us. Definitely been playing a
I think
little better.
that was his best game in a while. I thought he played really well against Aroca.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I could say that about many other players, but yeah, I mean, look, just I think it's one of those games that Benfica approaches, comes off the Porto win, and feels that sooner or later the goal is going to fall. Not understanding that a lot of teams come to Stadio lose, and they decide that, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're just going to play our game.
I don't think it had anything to do with that, Alfredo. I think it's more on us. I think it's more on the way Benfica approached this game, more on the way that they played. I think Benfica, and look, not trying to take away any of the credit from Maroka. They did what they had to do. They played to the final whistle. Credit to them, right? They came in with a game plan, and I guess they capitalized. But from a Benfica standpoint, I mean, it's childish. It was like amateur night for Benfica, rushing everything. A game that there's it's been for, it's not just this game, but you can say for a few other games in the past. You've needed that aggression. There's no aggression. I mean, we're talking about a game that went 100 minutes and we committed 6 fouls.
Yeah,
I mean that's childish.
Very passive. Very passive.
And then when you talk about having to close this game up, wrap it up, right? Send the baby to bed. Put the baby to bed. You get to the 90th minute or whatever, bro. And again, I know that soccer today is very different from when I was playing 20 something years ago. It's a soccer today that I don't like, by the way, and I think I made myself clear here on this podcast. I think today's soccer is boring. You don't see individual players. You don't see the jogo bonito. Today is just about guys that can run all day, and if you can run, you're gonna get places. If you can run, you know how to make a pass, you're gonna get to even better places. And there's very, very few special players in today's game. There's very few players that you pay out of your pocket to go watch. You know, there's maybe 2 or 3, and that's a stretch as is. So soccer's changed. I understand that, but Alfredo, you and I come from the same school and school of football. I'm saying, and in my days, it was about at the end of the game, que la merda put the pé para frente y rezar. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kick it out, foul, stop the momentum, stop the game, and Benfica did none of that. I thought you get to that point of the game, and it's just you get to the ball, bujardo, para frente, and just wait for the time to tick down.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to be pretty, and as opposed to trying not to foul people, not to touch. Bro, that shit is stopping the game every opportunity you have. Okay? And just letting the clock tick down.
Yeah.
And I think Benfica was very naive when it came to closing the game. And then the defending on that one goal, as I stated before, I don't know what the hell Sheldrup was thinking. Very annoyed because people have been talking about this kid over the last couple of months as if we're talking about Lamine Yamal. Could have sworn it's Lamine Yamal. And then when he plays, he does shit like this. I thought it was absolutely uncalled for. I think if I was his coach, I'd be questioning him. And then for those of you that are questioning why players such as he doesn't play, just go back and look at that one play. Okay? He could have very easily got back in position and ran with Jason and sat there step by step and maybe had an influence on his shot or intercept, whatever. Challenge him, but no. He was just jogging. Go back and watch it. I'm not making any of this up, but it's just funny how all you guys now are quiet. But you'll be quick to pinpoint Di Maria. you'll be quick to pinpoint Otamendi for that slight tackle, which again, it was uncalled for. I get it. But as I've told people before, let's not forget, even with that break, that lapse of in his mental at the moment for Otamendi, Benfica got the lead back. Okay,
Yeah.
we put all that said, without that activity, Benfica got the lead back, and they were a couple minutes away from holding on to the result. But nobody will mention that because he's one of their favorites. So it is what it is. That's why
Yeah.
you got to tune into the Benfica podcast, because Cristiano Oliveira will come in and up, hold those guys accountable.
Yeah. No, and I think that you have to. And Jason brings up a great point, right? Because this is not even a conversation that we're having. If Benfica could, as he mentions, you got to close out games. Benfica is just so unreliable at defending leads, and yeah, Benfica has an issue controlling the game in possession.
But it's not just controlling leads, Alfredo. It's you have an opportunity. You have Artur Kuglu one-on-one with the goalie, shoots it straight at him, and then Di Maria, all he has to do is tap it in, he shoots it wide.
Yeah, but he was kind of he's off balance.
That's fine.
The
That's
ball's
fine.
behind
But
him.
we've started many podcasts in recent time. We've started many podcasts where I've come on here. The three of us have come on here, and the Freddies have touched it as well, where we've said it's our inability to put the ball away, to put the ball in the back of the net, that makes these games tough down the line. And again, Benfica had chances. Very few this game. They didn't have as many chances as in games past, but they had enough chances to put the game away.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And then guess what? It came back to bite them in the ass. Just like we had a chance against Barcelona playing up a man for 70 minutes. We had chances, and we didn't put it away. Then we went there. And maybe we still lose, but maybe we don't. Right?
Yeah.
But the fact is that we didn't put any of those opportunities away. And then, of course, I'm going to be surprised that what's Pavlidis goes into the Dragão, scores a hat trick. I mean, because we're not expecting that.
Yeah.
And so, if we just put away our chances, we have an additional 2 points in our bank account right now.
Yeah, if you don't put away chances, you pressure the defense now, right? And I think that if you think about this defense, right, and against the teams that we play, and 80% of the teams that we play in a first league, I mean, this defense, the way it is plenty to handle. But there's some things that are wrong with this defense and Benfica's defensive transition. But what I also wanted to say is that in the 88th minute, instead of putting guys that could hold on to the ball, he's got Bruma goes in and Barreiro go in. And both guys are well, Barreiro not as vertical as Bruma, but certainly a guy that to go and press the defensive line of Aroca, and certainly Benfica got caught. Should have never happened, but it did. And I think you squander a lead like that, and games at home against teams of this caliber are games that you absolutely need to win. And when you don't, and when you don't close out games, and when you don't control games in possession, you put yourself in a position to allow a goal. And we've seen that many times before with this Benfica. We just don't have the ability to close out games, whether by being efficient or by just moving the ball around and having most of the possession and let the other team sniff the ball. But yeah, it's unfortunate because after that win at the Dragão, you want to continue the momentum and you want to reach Sporting still with that lead, and shift that pressure to Sporting, because Sporting would have needed a result, but that wasn't meant to be. And I think that you have to look at the team for the lack of urgency, for wanting to put the game away or to wanting to score more goals, the efficiency aspect of it. And I think, like I said in the beginning, I think the team just felt that the result would eventually come. But when you don't work and you don't put in the work, you open yourself to be beaten. And I think that's exactly what happened. And I think that I don't know if the team is surprised by it, but when you, at the end of the day, when you walk off the field and you kind of consciously think about what your performance is like, do these players feel that they left it all out there, that they played with a sense of urgency, that they wanted to really bury this team, that they wanted to get this result so they could sleep better? But it wasn't meant to be, and I think that you have to look at this team, and you can't come off of a win against Porto and think that everything else is going to be a walk in the park, because it's not. Final stretch, 5 games. You got to give it all you got.
Bro, it's another game. Yeah, I mentioned it to somebody. It might have been Hugo then, because I was gonna say I mentioned on the last podcast, but we didn't have a podcast. It was another game. If you guys pay attention to where Benfica is terrible at defending, when player goes deep and crosses it back second post, it's another goal.
Yeah.
If we recall all the goals we gave up to Sport, I think over the last couple of years with that left back, where that lefty kid who's playing right back, whatever his name is, scoring the goals against Benfica, it's the same thing. You go deep, cross it back second post, and Benfica's ball watching, nobody's paying attention, and and that's exactly how we suffer this goal once again.
Yep, it's always open. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Dave, that's
Yeah, Benfica dropped points in the league for the first time in 9 match days. Like you mentioned, no longer solely in first here. We don't control, or we still control our own destiny, but we have to come out with the result at the end of the season here against Sporting. Some positives here. Pavlidis still on a heater here with his 25th goal of the season, 15th in league competition, and Koksu with his 11th of the season, 7th in the league, and he's 1 goal away from tying his career high of 12, which he posted up with Feyenoord in the 2022-2023 season.
Yeah, just a couple comments here, and both by Nelson Lucindo. We couldn't close an envelope. I often times get more worried when we have a lead than when we need to score. I know we could score, but possession and holding the ball, impossible. Also, look at the bench. What good holding mid do we have to secure the ball? Also, why do we have this obsession with putting Dooney out wide? That ain't it, Chief. Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, that first part of that second question, why would we have defensive mid to hold the ball, yada yada. I mean, we've had that problem for years.
Yeah.
We haven't had. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, you had Enzo, and then he was there 6 months. He was gone. But Benfica's had it. I mean, it's been what's his name, Florentino for the past 4 or 5 years now.
And Florentino,
we haven't even gotten a backup.
Not good.
We didn't even get a backup. Well, I mean, technically, let's be fair. Hold on, let me correct. I'm sorry, guys. We finally did get a guy that was potentially going to take over, but he got hurt, Manu.
Yeah.
So let's just be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nobody on the roster right now.
Florentino is terrible with the ball at his feet. Don't ask him to build. That's not Florentino's style. But yeah, we have a chronic problem of not knowing how to close games, put games on ice. I think that's the one thing that JJ's teams had was close out the game, whether scoring more goals or holding on to possession. I think that's one that I remember from JJ's teams that he had. Anyway, Vitoria from Guimarães is up next. Game Saturday, 8:30 local. Dave, Vitoria hasn't been doing too shabby this year.
Yeah, they've currently in 5th with 48 points from 12 wins, 12 draws, and only 5 defeats this season. Coming into this match, winners 4 out of their last 5 in league competition. Historically, the numbers are looking in our favor: 127 wins, 31 draws, 25 defeats. But when we shrink it down here and get to some more recent games, 6 wins, 4 draws, and last 5 in Guimarães, 2 wins, 3 draws, and it's actually been 3 straight draws against Guimarães. Our last victory in Guimarães came back September 2021.
Yep. Tough game. And Guimarães, despite losing 2 key pieces, one of them being Manu to to Benfica, and another one, was it the kid that went to Spain? What was his name? I forget what his name was. The right back? Nelson something? I forget who it was.
I'm sorry, I was reading.
The kid
Say that again,
that Guimarães lost to. That
he
was
went to
one of their-
Juventus.
He went to Juventus, right?
Yeah.
So they lost Manu plus that kid, and yet they've managed to do well. They got a nice little team, got nice players in midfield. Thomas Handel, I've been a big fan of Handel. I wish that could have been another player that we could have gotten. There's a part of the Portuguese.
I like him a lot.
Part of the
like him as well.
Portuguese youth setup. Yeah. And then Thiago Silva, if I'm not mistaken. Good player also. Then
Whatever.
they
I
got
just hope none of them are good.
Nes-
How about
and they
that?
had Nelson Oliveira. Nelson Oliveira's got something to say.
And the other kid, that was the big time prospect that was gonna get sold to Leipzig for 20 million. He failed the drug test.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Recre-
Mario.
Umar Balde. Recreational drugs. It wasn't performing enhancing.
It was
on top of it.
recreational.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
read.
I thought it was okay.
No, nothing performance enhancing, was recreational. No, they don't say what substances, but I'm thinking pot. That's what I'm thinking.
But nowadays you test for pot and you get suspended. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if it
think
comes
that's-
up on your shishi,
yeah, but you should. But again, I don't even think these leagues take that serious anymore.
Chris, you know how long that takes for pot to leave your system? A while, bro.
It's
But
irrelevant.
it's not even a
Alfredo.
performance enhancer.
No,
That's
it's
what I'm
not.
saying. I don't think they care about weed anymore. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
What that U.S. sprinter, the lady U.S. sprinter, young girl, super fast, didn't go to the Olympics because she failed the test because of pot. Forget what her name is. Like pretty black girl, super fast, but she couldn't go to the Olympics because of a positive test. So yeah. What else we got? So it's gonna be a tough game against Vitoria, but you gotta show up. You can't just think that the game is gonna be handed to you, because Vitoria is also in the hunt for a spot in a conference league. And I think that they could, with Benfica and Sporting going to the Jamor, that opens up a spot for one of those top 5 guys to go to the conference league.
It's always tough. It's always tough when you go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tell you, if Benfica had pulled off this win against Rock, I'd be confident going in. But now, I don't know. The pressure's back on. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about this game.
Does
On
Sporting
Saturday
play
or
first?
Sunday?
This
Saturday.
Saturday.
Sporting
Sporting plays Friday.
on Friday, and we play on Saturday.
Oh, because Sporting's got the Taça game on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah. A bola caderno says Davis Neres was always high though, and he never got suspended.
That's a good fact. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't even think. I mean, I don't know.
Unless
I don't
it was
even think they hold you
cocaine.
to that shit nowadays.
But I think that
Cocaine, yes.
cocaine leaves
yes.
your system after 24 or 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken. But pot could stay in your system up to 30 days.
No sipper. I never tried either, so I have no idea.
Diogo Reis says, I failed the gluten test, or I'd be starting at Benfica. He comes in late, and then he's got these shitty jokes, too. How dare he? É o teu amigo, Cristiano.
That's it. That's my boy.
É o teu amigo. Bom, vamos embora.
They're all my boys. All the Freddies are my boys.
know.
I love them all. They just don't hit me up on Instagram like Diogo. But,
Yeah.
but,
You
You know,
what do you
They're all my
call it?
boys.
You want to risk a prediction, Cristiano?
Yeah, I'm glad to see Nelson back in action. By the way,
Nelson
I miss
Lucinda,
Nelson.
Nelson
Nelson's a good
Oliveira.
guy. For those of you that just started listening recently, Nelson used to be a big participant
Yeah,
back
Nelson.
in days. I
Nelson-
mean, even coming on with us. So
Yeah, Nelson
I'm
used
glad,
to do.
I'm glad you're doing well, Nelson. I'm glad you're back,
Yeah,
brother.
Diogo Reis had a goal callback. Nelson Lucinda used to do nas modalidades. He used to do a little sound clip that we used to play.
You remember that? You remember that?
And he
That's
had a
right, that's
recap of the modalidades. Which, by the way, since we're
No,
talking
it's
about
modalidades.
modalidades, Benfica's women's team 5-time champion, pentacampeão. Awesome stuff.
Hello?
Yeah.
You guys there?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, my internet's missing. Yeah, I don't know. I just missed whatever you just said.
Benfica. Foda-se, o gajo está a fazer de propósito, caralho. Nas modalidades. Yeah.
That was good,
Foda-se.
Nelson.
That
You got to
was-
start the back up, Nelson. That was good. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's all we really got. Yeah, look, it's the final stretch. 5 games left. We got key matches at the end of the season with Sporting, the penultimate game, and then going up to the Pedreira as the not the season, but the league curtain dropper, if you will. But we have to win games until we get there. Otherwise, it's going to be all for naught.
Strap on and hold on, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be
Halftime headlines.
gonna be a
correct.
stressful ride down the stretch.
Yes, sir.
Must-
We got Chris. We were talking about this before. We got Vitoria, we got Tirsense, we got AVS, we got Estoril, we got Sporting, and we got Braga. Those are the 6 games. Yeah, Mikoli video was great. It was great seeing Mikoli. Brought back a lot of memories.
That's criminal that we put up that performance with
Honoring
Mikoli in the
Mikoli like
stands
that.
there.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for all the Freddies that joined us, even Diogo Reis, and everybody that's going to listen to us a little later. We'll be back next week, Tuesday. I promise.
Maybe.
No, I promise. We'll be here. Or you're gonna host. Take care.
Jesus.
Later, everyone.